Guys, so today I will be filming a natural, everyday kind of college look, makeup look, because I know that if you're like me, you're on the go, you're constantly having to like leave and go to a class or like a club or something. It's something. Or even if you're just not a big makeup person and you're just starting out and you want to keep your makeup simple and not really too glamorous or dramatic, this is like the easiest one. You can kind of just go with eyeshadow if that's all you want to do, or you could go full out like I'm gonna do in the video. So it just depends on who you are as a person. So without further ado, let's get started. Yeah, fuck that. Yeah, I'm more like right now. Hey guys, so today's video is going to be all about the time that I had like a creepy encounter with a guy just for him to get my number. And I don't think I'm all that. Like I'm a baddie in my own mind, and that's all that matters. But it was just like I've never had a guy do something like that before just to get my number. Like it was kind of an odd situation, but it's a quick one and it's a funny one, and I'm ready to tell you all about it. If you don't know, I go to school in my hometown and I catch the bus to and from school, like the city public transportation. And usually I'm walking fast. I don't stop. It's like I don't live in New York or anything, but I just don't like to stop. I mean, I feel like as a trans woman, like it's so easy to get attacked, especially when you're like trying to like draw attention or when you don't look like, when you don't like you mean business. Like I have like a mean mug and I have a fast walk. I'm like, you're gonna have to run to catch me. I'm already have a pretty good head up start because I'm gonna take flight. Okay. Yeah, so usually I'm pretty much, just not really looking to draw attention. I'm more of like trying to just blend in the crowd of people that are walking and get to my bus, get on that bus and go home. So this day in particular, I am waiting to I'm on the bus, I'm getting ready to go home from school. I done had a long day. I'm super duper tired. And the irony of all of this is I have like the chillest outfit on ever. I had on like track pants, like those Adidas track pants that everyone's wearing. I had on like an ugly t-shirt, an ugly jacket, and my hair was just like it was just like slicked back. Like all I had was like a band on it. Like it wasn't like this. It was just like all over the place. So I'm just looking really bummy. And I was thinking that, I was just looking blendable. I wasn't drawing any attention. I wasn't trying to make it clear that, like, oh yeah, I'm bad. Like, I was like, no, I'm gonna save that for when I'm going out and I have a ride to the club. I feel like you do not catch the bus looking cute, like extra cute. You need to catch the bus. You can look cute, but not extra cute, because that's gonna draw attention. Because there's so many men down there that are like perverted or very aggressive, or they're just violent. And I just don't have time for it. So I get off the bus with my friend, and me and her went into the bus station to wait for my bus. And we were like chit chatting, just talking, having a good old time. And we were near the exit door. Like it was like the door that you can either enter or exit. It doesn't really matter. But the door was broke. Like it was broke. So they had like a little sign on the door that said like, don't you unusable, not work, not in order, or something like that. So the door was kind of like broke, and the guy came down, and he came down the little thing, the little ramp towards the exit door, and he realized it was closed, and he was like, he had looked me in the face when he was walking, and that's why I thought it was kind of weird because he had like it was like a glare, it was like he was trying to figure me out, and I'm like, okay. I mean, if he clocks me, all right. Most people can clock me, so I'm not really stressed about the clocking part. I'm like, oh, whatever. I know I'm not the most passable, so I'm not really thinking too much of it. I don't really care. So he comes back up because obviously the door is broken, so he can't use it. So he like walks back up and he looks at me as he's walking back up, and I'm thinking nothing of it. I'm like, to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left, like bye. So my bus pulls up and I go outside to catch this bus because I'm ready to go home. And so I'm like standing outside in the little line as people are like getting on the bus. So it's like a one by one thing. And he's behind me, but I'm not paying him no attention. So I'm listening to music at this time. I already put my headphones in. I'm like, I'm gonna get turned off this music. I'm thinking this man is transphobic, homophobic, whatever, what of you. So I don't like him being around me, but I'm like, I can't control who gets on this bus. Like this is downtown, so anybody can do what they want. So as I'm walking, getting closer to the bus, he's like, "Man, this line is long," and I'm like, I'm thinking he's talking to the old lady or somebody. I'm not thinking it's me, so I'm like, okay, whatever. So I'm like the next person to get on the bus, and I'm not. I guess I wasn't moving quick because he's like, move, and I'm like, hold up, like hold up. Don't let the prissiness fool you. Don't let the makeup fool you. Don't let the hair fool you. Don't let the clothes fool you. Okay, you can get snatched if you need to be. Like I'm not one to start a problem. I'm all peaceful and calm. I like to just I wish the world was so that everybody ignored each other because there's a lot of things I don't like that people do, but I just choose to ignore. So I'm like, I would hope that people would just ignore me in this world if they don't like what I do with my life. So I'm like, okay, he's trying to start a problem, and I'm not gonna feed into it. So I was like, I'm just get on the bus, start my little car, sit down. So I sit. There's like several different seat types, but I chose a seat for two people, and I just put my book bag in the seat beside me. That way, I could like prevent people from like sitting beside me just because they want to. And I know that sounds really mean because it's like you don't own this bus, but I always gauge it upon the crowd. Like if there's a lot of people that get on this bus, then I mean, of course I'm gonna move my book bag. I'm not gonna. I don't own this bus. If you want to sit beside, if it's crowded and you have to sit beside me, I'm not gonna take away that right of yours to ride this bus. It's just as much as I do. But one of the perks of being trans or gay or whatever, most people don't want to sit beside you. As far as men are concerned, they will avoid it. So even if it's crowded, they will stand up, and I'd be like, okay, perfectly fine with me. I wanted a peaceful window seat. Anyways, yeah, so I'm like sitting there, and so the bus starts to get really crowded quickly. Like there's a lot of people getting on, so I'm like, okay, I'm the only person with an open seat left, so whoever is getting on this bus next is gonna be sitting with me. So I like took my book bag down, I sat it down, and he had went behind me. He was sitting in like a couple seats behind me. So he got up and he moved to the seat across from me. As soon as I moved my book bag and sat it down, he moved across to the seat that I was in, and the seat beside me, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like, what was that all for? I was like, I guess he felt like I thought of a lot of things. I thought, A, he could be trying to change my life because he wouldn't be the first person that's done some shady stuff that to try to like cleanse me of being trans. Like this lady gave me a pamphlet one time all about, how I needed to get saved. But anyway, um, or I thought maybe he was gonna start a problem, or maybe I thought he just felt like that was the where he wanted to sit. Like maybe he thought he was gonna get off quicker, so he thought he was gonna get off earlier than everybody else. So he thought, okay, I can sit on the outside, get off. I don't know. Whatever reason he had, I was like, ugh. So I am just got my headphones in. I'm just like on my phone, looking down. I'm like listening to my music. I'm not trying to have no conversation with this man because I'm like, he's. I think he's homophobic. I think he wants to start an issue with me, and I'm just trying to have a peaceful ride home. So we're like halfway through the bus ride, and we're getting close to my stop. And I'm like, thank God that nothing's happened really too much. Like he nudged me a little bit, but I was like, I'm not gonna trip. I'm just not gonna trip because this man is twice my size. I'm skinny and I'm not that tall, so I'm like he has me beat. So next thing I know, this man that was in a wheelchair was getting off the bus, and that takes about 10 minutes because you gotta like they have to like wheel themselves over to the little launch pad thingy, and then it has to lower them down at the slowest rate imaginable, and then they get off, and they have to like lower the thing back. I mean, they have to get the thing to come back up and then come slide. It was it's always a lot. And so he was like, man, this bus ride long, huh, ain't it? And I'm like, I took my head on, like, I'm like, what? And he's like, oh, this bus ride long. I'm like, yeah, it's long. Trying to just, keep him at bay. And so, he said, he's like, where are you going? And I keep hearing him out the corner of my ears. So I'm like, ugh. He's like, where are you going? I'm like, I'm going to, Cameron, and he's like, "Oh, you live there?" And I'm like, "No, I live around there. I'm just going to see a friend because I didn't want to let him know that like wherever I get off at, he can guarantee himself that I'm living there. I didn't want that. Because it gets me pretty close to like my house. I didn't want him to think that like once I get off, he can be sure that he's coming to my house if it's any criminal activity on his mind. So he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm getting off near such and such," and I'm like, okay, great, like. I put my headphones back in. I'm jamming. I'm like, yo, the music is so good. And he's like, where you go to school at? And I'm like, So I'm like, I'm a conversation person. I'm friendly. So I'm like, I go to school. I go to the community college up, the one in our city. So he's like, oh, I thought you were in high school. And I'm like, high school, but I did just graduate. So I'm like, I just graduated a couple months ago. So yeah, I'm not in high school. And he's like, oh, okay. He's like, who all was there when you graduated? And I was like, my parents. Like, who else? And he's like, oh, I thought you would have had like a boyfriend or something because you're so like cute. And I'm like, I'm thinking the same thing. You know what? I agree. I agree. I would have thought that when I graduated high school, I would have had my little boo thing there too. Because you know what? I am cute. But no. Sadly, no. No guy was stepping up to the plate for all that back then. And I was too shy. I was really kind of going through a no guy phase anyway. So there you have it. So he's like, oh, okay, cool, 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 cool. He was like, you don't mind if I get your number? And I'm like, my number? And I'm like, okay, you can have my number. Cause I mean, he wasn't really ugly. So I was like, you can have my number. I don't really know where this is gonna go. I mean, most guys don't really get that far talking to me because once you mention sex, I'm done. So I'm like, here, we exchanged number. He's like, he's like, my name is, I don't want to say his name, just because his name is blah blah blah, and I'm like, oh well, my name is blah blah blah, and so he's like, okay, cool, whatever. He like hit me up. I'm like, no, you hit me up because you're the guy and you're courting me. I'm not courting you. So my bus stop comes up, and he's like, I hit the little thing. I get off the bus, and I'm like, so when I get off the bus, I turn, I go in the opposite direction that I go home because I'm like, no, ma'am, I'm not gonna have this man thinking he know where I live because I don't know what he's up to. I don't know what his motives are. And then after I saw the bus disappear in the distance, I was like, turn around, goes home. So if you're wondering where all that went, he did text me later that day and was like, you're really pretty. You should smile more. It looks really great on you. And we've been talking ever since a little bit, I mean, I don't know where it's going to go. I don't really know if it's going to go anywhere. But the point of the thing was, it was just like he did a lot just to get my number. He could have just asked. He could have just, been a little bit more forward. He was like, I saw you get off the bus at the bus station, and I wanted to talk to you then, but I just didn't really know how to go about it. And it's just like, I'm a regular person. I'm nobody special. Like, I'm just me. I'm just me. I'm just Morgan. I'm just a little trans girl trying to make her dreams come true. I'm nobody. I'm no different than the next girl. I'm no different than the next guy. I'm no different than the next human being. So don't be afraid to talk to me. Like, come up to me. Like, because I'm not afraid. If I want to talk to you, I'm going to go up to you and be like, hey. But yeah, so this is just a story time of when a guy went out of his way to get my number for no reason. So if you've ever had a guy do something crazy to get your number, leave it in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share my videos. Yeah, so until next time, guys, Mo is out. Bye.